let Derek and Heather sing "O Canada."
Oh, yeah. Who's all in favor?
We good? Okay, I will call this council meeting of December the 8th to order, and I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq. And let's stand for the singing of "O Canada," led by councillors.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Okay, record of attendance, and just because we are streamed, just want folks to know that Councillor Heather Hatfield and Councillor Derek Lesser are being brought in virtually, but they are at the meeting here, so there's no absent with regrets. Any declarations of conflict of interest, anyone? And you can certainly declare at the time of the agenda item. Good. Okay, and approval of the agenda. So you'll see 3 additions, basic income, and that's just a request for information, town crier 2022, and playground report. Is there anything else anyone wants to add or delete? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to make an addition for a town landmark or monument.
Okay, 4D.
Your Worship, I just think we'd like to acknowledge the
Oh, hang on.
Feed the need.
DE. Okay,
So I'd just like to acknowledge the arrival of Easter Seals office, branch office in Yarmouth. Acknowledge that.
okay. And I'll put, may as well put the 100 meals on there. That's a good idea. Anybody else? Anything? Okay, so a motion to approve with those additions, please. Councillor Bell, Deputy Mayor, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes, Town Council, November 17th. Deputy Mayor,
Second.
second by Councillor Cleveland. Any discussion on this one?
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Committee of the Whole, November 24th.
So moved.
Councillor Cleveland, second by Councillor Heather Hatfield. Any discussion?
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. And Special Town Council, November 30th, please. Councillor Lesser, seconded by Councillor Bell. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion
Aye.
carried. Thank you. We don't have a public hearing. Business arising, building code bylaw amendment. So the recommended motion there is that council approves second reading to amend the building code bylaw section 2.20.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Councillor Cleveland, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Are there any questions? The CAO is here, our planner is not, but we have folks on the planning committee. Is there any questions on that one? Go ahead there, Councillor.
Not a question, just to point out that this is just a minor change in the bylaw to include a missing building inspection activity. So
Okay.
it's nothing major.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Your light's still on. It shouldn't matter, that's okay. Okay, new business physician recruitment. The recommended motion there is that council continue to fund the community navigator for the next 3 years for $25,000 a year. I'm going to, CAO's looking. I'm just going to say 30,000. I think I mentioned that the last time. Argyle did go to $30,000, and the extra money is much needed and much appreciated. So that's not an amendment to, is that an amendment? No, so I don't have to worry about that one. Go ahead, Councillor Cleveland.
Your worship, I'd just like to say I'm overwhelmingly happy to support this in any way, shape, or form, whether it be 25 or 30, and I think making the motion 30 is absolutely fine. What's great about the physician recruitment and how it's done is that it's more than just a government initiative. It's something that the community buys into. You see it in the the Coastal Financial Credit Union and what they've done to create that building, the work that's done there. It's extremely successful, and I would be happy to make the motion for $30,000 a year.
Okay, seconded. Any more discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to reiterate that this is a health professional recruitment committee, and we are focusing on physicians, but it's important not to forget that all health professionals are important, and physicians cannot work unless they have nurses and physios and respiratory therapists and lab technicians, and all of them are in short supply. So we want to make sure that the health professional recruiter has the ability to do the full scope of her position. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. Okay, so anything further? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary?
Aye.
Motion carried. Request to present Facade and Mural Society. We did have a letter from them to present. So we want to make that motion for them to present, and Lindsay can find a, time. Councillor Lesser, you making that motion? Okay.
I'd second that motion.
Seconded by Councillor Heather. Is there any discussion on this one? Okay, so that will be at a committee of the whole, right? Yeah. Okay, any discussion? We good? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Wastewater treatment facility assessment and upgrade plan results. So the recommended motion there is that council award the tender for the wastewater treatment facility assessment and upgrade planning to EXP for $75,911 plus HST as recommended by staff. Okay, Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Bell. Any questions on this one? Concerns? Okay, I don't want y'all to be so difficult, but.
Your Worship.
Go ahead, CAO.
Your Worship, I'm just going to point out to council, this is technical work around beginning the plan. There are new standards, federal standards on effluent, and our plant does very well. We aren't required to meet the new standards until 2040, but that is, that's quickly approaching. And so having a plan for the upgrades is step one, and so this will get us started on that. And I want to point out as well that EXP, who are recommended to receive this work, they had the lowest price, but they also had the highest technical score in the tender. So I want you to be aware that we're not compromising quality in any way here, going for the lowest price. We actually are benefiting from both the highest technical score and the lowest price.
Good stuff. Thank you. Okay, we ready for the vote? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, reports. Deputy Mayor, that's you.
Recommended motion that council direct the traffic authority to investigate lowering the speed limit in the downtown core.
Seconder for that. Second by Councillor Dayers. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Recommended motion that council convert Prince Lane to a one-way traffic, Albert to Forest Street, as recommended by the traffic authority.
I'll second that.
Second by Councillor Cleveland. Discussion on this one? Go ahead, Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Your Worship. long overdue to transform that Muse Lane into a one-way street. Not to affect the motion, but just as an observation, there are only 3 driveways that are also accessible on William Street, and many more driveways that are accessible on Prince Street. So those are the 2 streets that the Muse Lane services. And by going from south to north, the snowplow is going to be plowing in those driveways on the east side of the street. I know that because I live on Highland Avenue and have Cottage Lane as a Muse Lane, and I can no longer use my driveway in the winter because I get plowed in, because that's the way the snowplows come. So just as an observation, that I hope before the change is made, that the residents in the area have an opportunity to comment on the direction that it's going to go. So it's just an observation. I think, it's one way or the other. It's going to work, but just as an observation.
Yeah. So
there may be some pushback if there isn't consultation
Okay.
before the.
So it's going to block one side or the other,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
It's going to block one way or the other. So CAO, once we make this motion, it's a done deal, sort of. Except we can have Public Works, what Councillor Bell is saying is to have Public Works maybe give them the heads up, you mean?
Yeah, just give
Yeah,
them a heads up
okay.
so that
Yeah.
they're aware of it. Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so once council, it's a recommendation of the traffic authority, and I would say it's at least partially safety, and given the width of the lane. So, I hear the councilor's concern, and obviously the communication there will be important, and as is the case on every street when the snowplow goes by, it's an inconvenience, but I think they're always happy to see the plow come. It's just that, I get it. And we'll just pass that along and make sure that's part of the communication.
Good stuff. Thank you. Good. Councillor Bayers.
Yeah, just do note that in the request for decision, it does include the notification to the residents in the area, so.
Okay, anything else? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Deputy?
Recommended motion that council adopt a dark sky policy and amend the land use bylaw to include the relevant provisions for the dark sky policy as it relates to outdoor lighting for certain developments.
Okay, second by Councillor Cleveland. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Recommended motion that council accept the municipal boundary report and direct staff to prepare and submit the application to the NSU ARB to confirm the number of councillors be maintained at 6 plus a mayor, all elected at large.
Second by Councillor Bell. Any discussion on this one? Just a formality, isn't it? They never,
Well, I wouldn't say that, out of respect to the UARB. It's a process that every municipality is required to do every 8 years, and they will hold a hearing, and they will hear any member of the public who is concerned about or has a differing opinion, and they will ultimately make a decision whether to confirm the recommendation of council or to go a different way. But yeah, we rarely have citizens from the public show up at those hearings, and the UARB has been supportive of the recommendations coming from council,
that's what I
at least
meant.
since I've been here.
Good. Okay. Any discussion on this one, folks? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Recommended motion that council set the organization grant budget at 1 cent of all property tax rates and tax grant budget at $183,000 for 2022-2023.
Okay, second by Councillor Bell. I see you, Derek. I got people nodding and people's hands going up. Okay, is everybody good with this one? Any discussion, questions, concerns? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
And a recommended motion that council light up Town Hall orange on December 6th for International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Please say yes to this because we already
Little
did
late.
it.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
True.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Todd Muse lit up. He turned all the lights off on the tree and did the tree. Just with a very simple string, and he asked if that would be appropriate. And it's such a statement that we didn't need 100 lights. We just needed that one simple statement and a couple posts saying that's what it's for, and it just helps people reflect and remember. So, yeah, great job.
It's powerful.
It sure is. Thank you, Deputy. Citizen Advisory, Planning Advisory. Do you have anything? You're good?
Yeah.
Nothing, Your Worship. Our next planning committee meeting will be on, I think it's the first Tuesday in January.
Okay, thank you. Reports for information, Code of Conduct Consultation Report. We just need to, go ahead.
Your Worship, I put that on for information. That came around, and I thought it might be something that council would be interested in seeing
Yeah.
where we were with that.
So, yes, and so what'll happen, there will be consultation. We'll do it virtually and we'll do it in person. So I chair that provincial code of conduct. So we'll just go around the province and make sure that everybody has an opportunity, but perhaps most important is to sit down as a council, because that's the only way that we make sure that everybody has a voice and council has a voice. So take a peek at that, folks, if you get a minute. I'll test you next week. And I didn't put on anything under the mayor's report. I haven't been doing these, but I did want to take a moment, if everybody's okay with it. It's, I'll do salt wire, and I'll do, well, I guess it's both salt wire, the Vanguard and the Southwest articles, something for CGLS. But the accomplishments for 2022, and I just find lately when I'm asked, the list is long. The list is long, and the list is exciting, and the list is credit to folks at this table, to every single staff member. So I'm hoping you would be okay if I just went to each of you, and if you just put something on the table that was important that we accomplished this year. It can be anything, but I think everybody has something that they're thinking, wow, I either can't believe I got it done, or I'm excited that we got it done. Who wants to start?
I'll get back.
I'll get back to you. There's a long list. Okay, you go right ahead.
Oh, what the heck, because the first thing popped into my head, of course, is the excitement of bringing everybody together, not just us, but bringing us and the other two municipalities together, making that application for the Mariner Center expansion, and getting that money.
Yeah.
Getting that money was huge. It was a dream that even when things were going smoothly, in the back of your head, you almost think, well, you know what, we'll put this application in, nothing will happen, or it'll be a while and we'll have to poke and prod. And it happened, and it all fell into place together all at once. And we're on the precipice of something very exciting with the Mariner Center. And to me, that was a major, major achievement this year.
Go ahead, Deputy.
And just to further what Councillor Cleveland said, someone out in the public, some people, I guess, were upset. They seen that the high school project didn't go on, and other things, maybe why didn't we fix roads? But this isn't a this or that type of thing. We started this process well before any of those things kind of bumped heads together. The 3 local councils came together, worked very hard to put this forward. We're one of the only people in Canada to get this. We had a great application that was approved, and this wasn't a pot of money that we said, we're going to set this aside for the Mariner Center and not do other things. This was a federal grant that came from the federal government that we applied for, and if it wasn't coming here, it was going somewhere else. So I'm very thankful that it is here. Yes, we realize there's other things that we need to work on, but this wasn't a take away from one, give to the other. Very thankful that we're here and for all the work done by the committee and DRAM and the Mariner Center Board and everybody. I think that's great for our area, but just wanted to clear that little bit of I don't know up.
Yeah, that's a really great point. When we do something, because we get it all the time, you need to pave instead of putting money into, or, sometimes the province will do something and then a lot of people will say, focus on doctors. But we don't have the luxury of just doing one thing. We have to keep everything moving and, 500 balls in the air all at the same time. So it's a lot to do, and the deputy's right. We don't take from one to do the other. Go ahead, Councillor Dares.
So I will comment, the extended contract of the ferry service, and I'll just leave it at that.
It was on the list. Anyone else? Don't be shy. Councillor Heather, and then Councillor Lesser, and then Councillor Bell.
Yeah. Thanks. A couple things, I guess, for me. One was the revitalization and all the activity that occurred around Seafest this summer, just to see everybody downtown and all the activities that took place. Kudos to the committee that put that together and to the community that came out and supported that and got us back on track with that. It was really awesome to see. And as chair of the Communities in Bloom Committee, I just want to mention the 2 awards that we won, the National Award for Landscape and for our Class of Champions. So 2 other great things that we've done in the town this summer.
Thank you. Councillor Lesser?
Yeah, I was going to actually say Communities in Bloom, although that's not anything I'm directly involved in. I think it's something we should be really proud of. But the other project that saw completion was the water splash park, which was a great example of community-led action. Linda Gallagher and her group did the project and moved forward with it, came to us for a small amount of money towards the end, but it's the perfect example of how community can work together to accomplish something really good. So that was mine.
Absolutely. Anyone else? CAO, you get anything? You must.
Your Worship, one of the things that happened just before 2022 rolled around, but the reopening of the former YMCA and what's happened there in terms of rebuilding program and providing service to the community, it's going to lead us into the new facility that we'll enjoy on Stars Road someday. But there was a void there for almost 2 years where the community didn't have a service that means a lot. And, this council showed leadership in securing the facility and building a coalition, a partnership with our neighboring municipalities to see that happen. We're blessed to have the leadership we have there to pull it off and the staff that he's been able to assemble. So, there was some leadership at this council table, but it's something that really matters in the community and is going to ensure success going forward.
Awesome. Councillor Bell?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think of the downtown revitalization that is work in progress, and we're going to have a presentation from the Facade Society in January, and I just want to comment that even in the midst of the challenges that we've all faced in the last 3 years, the Facade Society has continued to deliver. And look at our downtown. There has been no pause in the activity, in the refurbishment of buildings, in the murals that have started to pop up everywhere. And so kudos to Natalie and her crew and all of the volunteers, and to the downtown business community for having the faith in this community to be a part of that process. And there's just one other thing that I would like to comment on, and I have to be a little bit careful, but last December, I can remember being at this council table for an industrial committee meeting. Industrial Commission meeting. And we were in a difficult spot when it came to our stewardship of the municipal contribution we were making to medical clinics in this community. And we felt as though we were in a stagnant place and we didn't know how to move forward. And flash forward 1 year, last weekend, and there was a Nova Scotia Health sponsored pop-up clinic at Harbour South, our facility, where 151 people in this community were able to drop in with no appointment and see doctors, nurse practitioners, licensed practical nurses, paramedics, and public health staff all collaborating together to provide needed healthcare services. And it is still a work in progress. We don't know what the outcome is going to finally be, but that is a vision that I think this community had 20 years ago when we were talking about how do we support health services in the community. And we didn't get that drop-in clinic at the time because it just didn't work. But here we are today, and it's proof of process. It was an amazing opportunity, and I suspect there will be more to come. So it's a very small step,
Big deal.
but it feels very gratifying because it means that we're in alignment, and scarce healthcare resources. If we can be in alignment, I think we can serve our community better. So
I'm glad
Yeah.
to know that was used so fully, because you wonder, I kept driving by just to see, because there was lineups.
yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah.
Anyone else? So we got a long list. What's that? Oh, Councillor Lesser, go ahead.
It'd be pretty hard to not mention what's happening at the Mariner Center this week with holding the National Curling Championships. And for anybody watching that hasn't got a chance to get out and watch it, it's quite amazing to think that this is happening right in our community, and that we can transform the Mariner Center from a hockey rink that's packed every night to 5 sheets of curling. And it's an amazing opportunity. So if people haven't got a chance to get out and see it, I would encourage you to go see.
Thank you. That's really important. Go ahead.
Go Nova Scotia, 8:30 tonight. I think both the men's and the women's team are playing. So
Is it tonight?
I think so. I
Come in first in the division.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
go Nova Scotia.
Go ahead, Councillor.
One more while we're on a roll. And this is one that really was significant, but it's funny, it slipped my mind because the minute that you said that, Mariner Center jumped in. But the Active Living Trail. I am so proud of what we've done over the last few years with the Active Living Trail, but I do remember, I gotta say, I was 6 years ago when I was running for council the first time and knocking on doors, and I went down through the Haley Road area, and I heard from everyone, we need a sidewalk. And it's taken that long, but this summer, we have the most gorgeous Active Living Trail that links that community on the Haley Road to the rest of this community. And as we continue to build that, it's significant. I walk those trails. I run those trails often. And just days after the trail was completed this year, I went for a run through that neighborhood and thought, we did this. And talk about a feeling of success, I guess. But those are things that, sometimes you get them done and you just move forward and you don't think about them again. But those are things that people are going to enjoy for decades because of something we did. And I see it in you. I see you tearing up, and I almost feel the same way because those things are significant. Sometimes they don't feel that way at the time, but my goodness, they reap benefits.
They do.
Thank you.
And I get teary. The big tough mayor gets teary because you're right. I find that we do, and then we do the next one and we do the next one because we're always in the midst of at least half a dozen big projects that we're trying to accomplish. But everything is done from this table to make the community better, like to build the community. And so the active transportation trail, it allowed so many more people to just get out and walk that couldn't even get out and walk. And whether it was a scooter or whatever it was, now they can get out and do that. And they're connected one end to the other. And it's wide and it's beautiful, all these things. Go ahead there, CAO.
So I just wanted to comment on that as well, because, yeah, I use the trail sometimes as well myself. And when I use it, sometimes I'll see seniors who live nearby. And a couple of times I stopped and talked, and you know, they can't say enough good about it. But one of the things that stuck with me was the last time that occurred was a fellow said, it isn't just a sidewalk. I'm meeting people I didn't know were my neighbors.
That's right.
So it actually, as unintentional as it may have been, it's actually built community connection, because it's given people something safe that they can do outside their door besides get in the car and drive away. And you know, it not only connecting to other parts of the community, but connecting within that immediate area, people who maybe otherwise are quite isolated in life. So it really truly is a piece of infrastructure that's helped to build community, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. On top of everything else you all mentioned that I kept ticking off, because I was writing as you, the ferry terminal that matches the ferry coming back was, you know, as Councillor Dare said, like that was just huge. That changes everything. We remember what Yarmouth was like 10 years ago. It wasn't pretty. So the return of the ferry again, and then to have the ferry terminal phase 1 done was huge. You know, our engineering department just took that and ran, thankfully. We said active transportations, the awards for downtown. I don't even know if they were, but the whole scape. I think Councillor Heather mentioned some of that. I wrote down house sales, like that things were moving. And I would also say, and I know this is true, you know, across, not just here, but I finally feel like, you know, there's value in our properties now, which is good on some things. Our population went up for the first time since what, 1991, 94, something like that. It's the first time our population went up, and it went up close to 5%. That's not by accident, by any means. I do a lot of interviews. Actually, I did one yesterday that Lindsay sent me, and the question was, you know, why is your schools have the highest increase in children in the province? And I just tried to explain that it's our job as a council and as a town to set the table, not to do everything, but just to set the table to bring people in so that they're looking and they're seeing that, you know, Councillor Heather is leading, you know, a team that's making sure everything just looks and feels great. You know, Councillor Cleveland is doing his piece by making sure that everybody's connected to tours, like everybody's doing something. And it all comes together. But in the end, I think we put our best foot forward and people come in, and once they're here, they love it. I think people is part of that as well. So they're coming. So the population increased. This one gets me excited. The diversity here, there's a noticeable difference in the diversity. And it's funny because I spent one evening last week at NSCC in a newcomers session, and there was a ton of people from Ontario, and they gave me their stories because I want to know, why did you choose Yarmouth? Because it's just humbling that of anywhere in the world they could go, they choose Yarmouth. It's a really good choice, by the way. It's the best choice they could make. But there are people from Korea and South Africa and all over the place that are finding Yarmouth somehow and coming to it. And I think everybody at the table here knows the farther away you come from, the easier it is for you if there's a community of your people here, so that you feel more comfortable. So, you know, Koreans and the Vietnamese, and then a couple nights ago, Sunday, Councillor Bell and I think there were close to 200 people from the Asian community, everything from the Philippines to, my goodness, China, Korea again. Like there were 200 people at the Lions Club that came together from our community, but that wasn't nearly, that was just the tip of the iceberg. So, and you can see, I mean, there's a restaurant, there's a Mexican restaurant, there's a Filipino restaurant, there's the pho restaurant, it's in a little town. So it's huge. They come in and they start businesses, and every single person they all say the same thing. They absolutely love Yarmouth. So something's being done right. And then I had put doctor recruitment, like we're really, really successful on that front. We're doing well. So thanks for indulging me in that. Sometimes we forget, and I think Councillor Cleveland, you said it, we do it and we know it's good and we move on, but sometimes we need reminders of just, how much we've accomplished. So we've done okay this year. All right. Any questions for committee chairs? Oh, okay, we're doing okay for the curling.
Doing very well. You can call it a success in any measurable way. The curlers are having a great time. The games have been amazing. Mariner Center looks fantastic. And it's not just Mariner Center, you realize. There are 5 ice sheets at Mariner Center, but the 4 at the curling club are being used as well. The connections that are being made. And as always, the volunteers that we have are the most remarkable group. Our town, I'm so proud of not just this town, but this region with what they do. We have mastered hospitality. And I know that that's maybe in a way that's an arrogant thing to say, but it's true. We have a way and we do this well. And every time we have an opportunity to show the nation or the province or the world, we come out on top. And there are some people who are just in love. The weather helped too. May I add, I've got a funny story because I thought it was kind of hilarious. Of course, at the curling club, it's the golf and country club, and it's curling and golf. And there was a couple of ladies who were having breakfast. See, everything is being done right there. And so they were having breakfast at the curling club, and they look up over the ridge, and there are a couple of golfers coming over, and they're from, I can't remember, they're from the prairies. It might have been Saskatchewan, it might have been Manitoba. And I believe some swear words were uttered. It's like, oh my God, what is going on here? And they asked one of the people there, one of the workers, whether or not they had clubs. Nobody thought to bring clubs. And he said, I think I've got a couple of sets that I could loan you. And they went and went golfing. Now, how many of those people are going to go back to home, wherever that may be, and say, we went to curl and we went golfing? Everything has just come out roses.
It has. I love it, golfing. I got blamed for the weather.
You did?
I did. I got blamed for the weather, and I said, it's the best thing. It's the best weather we could possibly have.
Yep.
So it was really good. Any questions for committee chairs? Any more? We're good? Okay, so we've got additions. So I just put basic income on there. There's just a lot of conversation in the province around basic income. And the question keeps coming back to me anyway. We should discuss this, but around, has your council discussed this? And the answer is no. So can we get some information on that? And then have a discussion? Okay, can I go ahead there, Councillor?
Yeah, I think you'll recall Catherine Sweet will be doing a
Yes.
presentation at the next committee of the whole meeting on that very topic.
You know what? That's right. Can we don't have to get any information. Thank you for that, Councillor. I knew we had something, but I just didn't remember what it was. So we're good. And then anything else we need on top of that after a presentation, we can ask for. Town Crier 2022, is that for funds, CAO?
Your Worship, we've just included the report there for your information. The town crier is provide a stipend every year for his work. Obviously, with COVID, the list is a little bit shorter than say pre-COVID, but hopefully as more events are occurring, David will be able to get out there cry a little bit more going forward. But we'll be providing a stipend to him, and this is just a report for information.
Okay, so it's the same stipend though, right? Okay, good. We don't, because it's nobody's fault that. He does such a great job. And when he starts ringing the bell, like everybody gets so excited. It's like they've never seen a town crier. I just love it. He's really good. Okay, playground report.
Your Worship, this is a request for direction, I guess, from the Manager of Public Works. There was a motion of council to develop a report or a plan related to the South Playground. So the Manager of Public Works has a few questions, and I suggested that he direct it back to council since the direction came from council in the first place. So question number one, as you can see, is should additional amenities and upgrades be identified in the report, or is it the intent to only make the necessary repairs and restore to its original condition? That's regarding South Playground. Question number two is a report requested only of the Yarmouth South Playground, or should staff prepare similar reports for Havelock Playground, Gowdy Park, Beacon Park, Sprucewood Playground? And third is considering items 1 and 2, should the town consider the creation of a Parks and Playgrounds master plan? And I think if you read those questions and the third question, I think there's kind of a recommendation in there. But out of respect, asking council if that is in fact what you'd like to see.
Okay, Councillor Dares.
Thank you. So basically, I agree with all three of the suggestions. My comment would be, though, that, taking number one, should additional amenities and upgrades be identified? Absolutely. There's buildings down there that should be destroyed and not rebuilt. There's a lack of things like picnic tables and shade areas. So I think, new amenities, I don't think restoring it to the original condition is the goal here. I think it's to make the playground more suitable for activities for families. And so I would expect that report would include the addition of things like structures. If you have to replace a structure, fine. If you have to alter or renovate a structure, if you have to destroy a structure and remove it, then that's fine too. But there should be shade areas. There should be a place to get potable water throughout the summer months. And there is a water source there. I think it just needs to be hooked to a fountain. But I think those are the things we're looking for at that park in particular. But to only have one picnic table in a park, in a playground that size is a little bit lacking and not very inviting for families. I do suggest that, yeah, we should assess all of our playgrounds and see if there's work that needs to be done. And I don't disagree with the creation of a Parks and Playgrounds master plan. I think that's great, so long as it doesn't hold up the work that should be done at Yarmouth South Playground. I think that's, in my mind, and I've visited the other playgrounds, I know that they probably do need some work, but in my mind, this is the largest and the most important playground to work on at this time, and I would hope that we would proceed with that in the interim while we're working on the other things that were suggested in the report.
Good, thank you. Deputy Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Mayor Cleveland.
Mayor Cleveland. Boy, that's a good promotion.
You don't want it.
I'm sure I don't, actually. Okay, so I agree with you, Councillor Dares. Absolutely, we should look at all of that, and I do believe that a master plan would be a good move. So, yeah, if you're asking everybody's opinion, then of mine, I think that master plan would be a vital piece of information. And, you don't know where you're going until you've got that roadmap leading you in a particular direction. So, yes, please, and thank you.
Good. And I mean, you just don't want to wear this. That's all.
It's okay.
Go ahead, Deputy.
I agree 100% with Councillor Dares. I think when this originally came, it came from the Paint the Park, obviously, initiative that we did. Since then, there's been some things identified, picnic tables being one, accessibility, the skate park itself, some of the things down around there, the cement and whatnot is cracked, and although it's been filled, until it can be properly fixed, it will just continue to be a Band-Aid. So for me, I think that I would like to see the South End Playground be separate and distinct and be the primary thing that we get kind of rolling first. Therefore, doing other parks and worrying about other playgrounds doesn't take away from it, because I do think that there's a need that needs to be done, and the quicker we can get that out, the better. I think as a secondary plan, I love the idea of a master plan, but for me, the main idea that came out of this was to fix up the South End Playground, basically give us a wish list of what it is it would cost to bring this back to the glory that it once was, and then we can move on in a different way to make sure we do have a master plan to eventually get to everything kind of in that order. But to me, that would be kind of the first, let's get that done, let's get that fixed up, and then let's get on the rest and have a plan. So that's where I'm at with things.
Good stuff. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so do you want me to do motion by motion?
Yeah, that would be great, because the on record, that's all it's being.
Okay, so the first one, I'll take a stab at it. If you want to walk me through it if I'm off, then that's good. Okay, so the recommended motion is that additional amenities and upgrades be identified in the report. That simple. Okay? Councillor Bell, second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Second one, is a report requested only for Yarmouth South Playground. Okay, so
Your worship, yeah, I think if you simply propose a motion to create a master plan to incorporate all of the playgrounds and parks, I
yeah,
think
that one covers. Yeah, so we're saying, just to be clear with council, we're going to say that the master plan be undertaken after the master plan, or? Okay. No,
If
that's
council
okay.
wants immediate, this
Yeah.
report on the Yarmouth South Playground to be completed first and the work actioned immediately or as soon as possible, that would be a separate motion than the master
Okay.
plan.
Okay. So the recommended motion is that the work on Yarmouth South Playground begin as soon as possible. Okay? Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Lesser. Any discussion on that one? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. And then the master plan, that a master plan including all parks be prepared.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, Councillor Cleveland? What's that? Parks and playgrounds, sorry, yes. Okay, all right. Okay, go ahead, Councillor.
Just a question, just wondering how parks and playgrounds fit in with recreation, or do they at all? Not,
They're separate.
okay,
They're separate, yeah.
Yeah.
When recreation was consolidated or amalgamated, back in 95, 96, Parks was part of it within the town, but then it was separated a few years later.
Yeah.
And so we have staff that look after parks and playgrounds, and recreation looks after recreation facilities and programs.
but like I think of the South End Park, I think of the South End Park, and I can recall it being used by the Department of Recreation to produce programming. So
They're
is
responsible
there,
for programming.
is there a place for liaising in this master plan development between parks and recreation? That's just the question I have.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's consultation.
There is.
Okay.
question? I don't, yeah. So, exactly. Okay, so any more on that one? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion passed. Okay, playground report. Okay, 14D, landmark. Who had landmark?
That was me.
Well, you go right ahead there.
Okay, I'm talking today. Thank you, Your Worship. As you know, and I think you mentioned it before, often things that I do kind of with a tourism mindset. I just, for some reason, naturally have it. And one of the things that I won't say has been in my radar, but on the back of my mind, was doing something with a Yarmouth landmark, whether it be the word Yarmouth somewhere where you can take pictures, or I don't know, a big lobster or something where tourists can gather. And just lately, last week, as a matter of fact, looking at the paper, there was a title, and I'm actually going to use it because I have it here. Selfie time, new Sydney sign spelling out another reason to visit the downtown. And it's an article on the new Sydney sign that's set up there. I don't know if this requires a motion or not, but I would love it if we put it in the back of our heads at the very least, that it would be a very significant thing to have some kind, and as we develop things like the facade program as well, and some of those murals, that we could have something somewhere, be it in the downtown or even as part of the waterfront development. And I think waterfront would be a particularly nice place for it, that we should think at least, and maybe even look at the kind of cost that would be required to put in something, be it a big sign that says Yarmouth, or, you know, with the big letters, or a lobster, or I don't know, whatever, be it a boat or whatever. That can be designed at some other point, but I really would like to have that in the back of our minds as we move forward doing development work. And so I wanted to say that there. I don't know if it requires some kind of a motion that someone should investigate it, or if it just should sit here and be in your, you know, your windshield, if you will.
I think once that waterfront committee gets up and go, that's one of the things on the list that we want to.
I definitely want to see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, thank you.
Were you going to?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that maybe the other place where something like that could be discussed or investigated or thought about is at Yasta, right? Our tourism entity. So, I mean, I'm sure that Neil and his crew are aware of similar things to that. You know, it'd be nice to have something a little different, little unique, that isn't just another, you know, whatever every other community has, but something that is truly unique and picture worthy. You know, and again, the waterfront committee, or, you know, committee when we get it going, and we're in the process, that would be a place, if it is something on the waterfront, that we would want to consult and have opinion from that body as well.
Good. Who's out? Councillor Bell? I don't know how you got that. It was on.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I just, I'm going to make the observation that maybe we already have this. I'm going to make the observation that we as a town, took a leap of faith when we agreed to the designer's vision for lobster cars on our downtown. And who's to say that we cannot extend that concept of the lobster car to another place that would be perhaps a little more photograph friendly? I don't know, but I'm just saying that for me, I think people from away come into this community and go, oh my God, what is that? And it excites them and it engages them. And I see people taking photographs of themselves inside of those lobster cars frequently. So don't forget what we already have when we're talking about some kind of an iconic landmark. Just a thought. Thank you.
No, it's a good that we need to figure out not figure out, but we know who we are, and how do we build one on top of the other, right? How do you add two? Yeah, that's fair. Go ahead there, Deputy.
Just observation as well. I remember Councillor Lesser had brought up a while ago, kind of like the big Yarmouth name with the big letters and whatnot. You see Ottawa has one, Toronto has one. I see a lot of pictures of people kind of down in Cuba and whatnot, and maybe that's an idea that could come to the forefront as well. Just the big letters that, it's kind of the self-advertisement too, right? Your name's in there, it kind of looks good as well. And we also have the shark down there now too, which is kind of nice, but I agree, it would be nice to have something that's a big draw and just something else to consider that's kind of already been brought up.
Good. CAO?
Your worship, the other thing, listening to Councillor Hatfield, is the amazing murals that have popped up in our community.
Absolutely.
Those are certainly photo worthy. Maybe one of the things that we need to think about is how do we connect all that? And, maybe it's a hashtag or something so that somebody looking, for landmarks in Yarmouth or there's a hashtag that goes with that can be put discreetly at each of those photo-worthy locations that people might use, and then follow further to see what else there is.
Good idea. Good. We'll get her done. Okay, feed the need.
Yeah, so happy to say, just shortly before I came here, we just surpassed $7,000 raised for Feed the Need. For those people who don't know what Feed the Need is, it's a community-funded Christmas meal program that provides either a turkey meal or a ham meal for families. They sign up about a week or so before Christmas. A bunch of volunteers go down to Yarmouth Fresh Mart. We roll out the meals and deliver them to the doors. So it's just a great community project that's funded by the community. It's community at its best. So I just wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to all those people who either donate their time or their finances or, just some PR around it. It's a great program with some great feels, and I'm very thankful to be from the community that we are and have the support that we get for things like that. And I guess just on a side note, when we're talking about community, on Monday night, Myra Ritchie every year for the last 10 to 15 years, I believe, gets Santa to go down to the South End Playground. All the kids come out. She takes care of the candy. There was teddy bears in the past. I was down there Monday night. It was great. A big shout out to our parks crew who really fixed up the park down there with some lights and nativity scenes and whatnot, and stayed around and helped out. And as we sit here in this meeting and look at our beautiful Frost Park, I just like to give a shout out to Todd and the crew for all the work they do, for really putting our town, a little shine on our town, and it's great. And I love the addition of the orange, that connection with our First Nations is letting them know that it's not one day a year. That Mayor Mood, you had posted on your Facebook about that, and I thought that was very important to bring up, that we're partners year round and we continue to do these things to build that partnership, and I just think it's great. So thank you.
I'm just going to add to that. It was, Todd and the parks crew, they're so way ahead of us in thinking. We think it, but by the time we get it out there, it's already done. And so on Water Street, all the orange lights that are up, and that is, the part of truth and reconciliation, like the deputy was saying, that it's not just one day. It's every day that we need to be reminded. So every little reminder that we can put out there is tremendously important. And then we had a couple folks ask, where's McCallie's tree? And McCallie's tree, purple tree, is now the Purple Fountain, which is a big deal. It's and I say it's a big deal because it's important that we remember. And so they put the purple on the fountain in remembrance of little McCallie. So the park, to wander through the park is it's an experience all on its own, because things mean something, and that's really important for community. Easter seals.
Yes, thank you. I think sometimes in the excitement of the season and with what's going on in town with the curling and things like that, sometimes announcements are missed, or they're not, though no focus is on them. And I think it's really important that the significance of an Easter Seals office being opened here in Yarmouth. It's the first and only satellite office of Easter Seals in the province, and we're very fortunate. They'll be supporting accessibility efforts in this area. I was really pleased that they said they were going to have a focus on initially on sledge hockey, and the Mariner Center is one of only a handful of arenas in the province that is actually sledge friendly. So we are certainly able to host that. But I think it's going to be a great resource to our accessibility committee and a very welcome resource in the community. So I just want to make sure it didn't go unnoticed. Thank you.
Yeah, it's, you're right, it's very important. It's been, she did do, I think she did the Weekender, and she's done some other publicity around that to get the word out. They've hired their person over there, so it's important. So I think you guys know the president and CEO of Easter Seals is Joanne Bernard, she's a former Minister of Community Services. So she's taken that on and called probably, it wasn't that long ago, 6 or 7 months ago, and just said, what do you think? I would never say no to that. So, they found an office. They're right here in Lovett Plaza, and off and running they go. So I'm glad you brought that up. And that's, the fact that we're sledgeability we have, right? It's really good. Thanks for bringing that one up. Okay, the 100 meals, I'll mention that, just like the deputy mentioned the Feed the Need, which will basically ensure, how many, Steve? 150 at least?
We did 187 last year, so we're figuring
200, 220 full turkey dinners, turkey or ham dinners will go out. People don't need to be without a Christmas or a holiday meal. That's very true. And then, it was Jason Ellis that did the turkeys. Is it Jason? He's doing yes, that's separately, but it's, there's turkey there. And then everybody knows about the 100, I say everybody knows about the 100 meals, but the 100 meals started in 2019. The mayor's task force basically sat down and said, how do we help feed people or help them with, we can't pay power bills, and we get that all the time, everybody at the table, can you help me with my power bill, or, whatever bill it is. But what we came up with was, we could do a meal a day, one hot meal a day for 100 days in a row. And if you took even $3 or $5 and put that money you would have spent on the meal and you put that away, I mean, everybody doesn't do that, but if you put that away, you could pay your power bill. And so it's to help that way. The other point of the 100 meals was the social aspect, and which is why we didn't do it in the last couple of years for COVID. I mean, the safety issue as well, but so that people could get out and be around people, and mental health is tremendously important. The longer we go on in time, the more important it becomes, because it's just a wild world out there. So the ability for people to come together at a table, and I remember at Beacon Church, and I walked up to this table full of they were senior women, and they were laughing and just having the best time, and they were having like their second or third cup of tea. And I said to one of the ladies, I said, I'm so excited that you came out with your friends. And she said, oh, no, dear, they just became my friends tonight. I came here alone. I haven't been out of the house for 2 months because it's cold, and it's like, she gave me the whole story. And I sat at this table, and you know what? We're going to go out for tea to one of those new fancy coffee shops, and we're going to play cards too every week. So it just, I got goosebumps on my goosebumps. Like, it just brought community together, and we have everybody. We have families. I love to see the kids dancing around, and it's just amazing. So you can donate to that as well. And I'll say this, we certainly, nobody can do this alone, but together we can make this happen for the community. I'm going to say this too, because I feel like I need to. There's no contest here. I would give to Feed the Need just as quickly as I would give to the 100 meals. You just have to choose something, and as long as we're able and we're giving, then that's great. If you're going to do the 100 meals, you can come to Town Hall. If it's anything over $20, we'll give you a certificate. We'll give you a tax receipt. I'll give you a certificate too if you want one, just to say thank you. But a tax receipt, so, you know, we've had, I think the first year we did it, within, I think, 10 days, we had close to $12,000 or $15,000. So the community comes through, and I will put that schedule up probably by mid next week. The first meal is on the 18th at Beacon. And if we have a meal a day, that's great. If we skip a couple meals because of weather or we can't get volunteers, but, you know, we're going to do our very best, and we just want community to get together. And I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't understand how difficult it's going to be this winter because of the price increases, you know, food. I mean, I'm not paying $8 for lettuce, I can tell you right now. I'd pay $8 for a bag of chips maybe, but not less. I just have to be honest. So it's going to be really hard. We just want to help everybody out. So you can donate there as well, or the Feed the Need, or anything else that comes up to help community. Go ahead, Councillor.
Well, just while we're on the rant, just want to mention that on Christmas Day every year, Brenda Hattie provides Christmas meals out of the Legion that are delivered by volunteers. Everybody gets a hot Christmas or a hot turkey dinner on that day. And I think it takes a little bit of the heat off of the people that, the 100 meals, for example.
She's on our list for the 100
but
meals.
But you know, it's quite a volunteer effort as well. And also the Wesleyan Church has a program that I'm happy to support. It's the backpack program that on Friday afternoons they send the kids in need or identify families in need and send the kids home with a backpack full of food, and the reports back are excellent. So they gather their groceries up every Thursday. They get the grocery order together. On Friday, volunteers stuff the backpacks and deliver them to the schools. That's a great program.
Sure is. Okay, anything else, folks? All right. Playground report. Municipal French language services, we're going to just do that later. Okay. Approval of invoices. Moved, seconded by Deputy Councillor Lesser and Councillor Cleveland. Anybody else want to second that? Can I just add one more? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Date of the next meeting, January 9th, 12th, January the 12th. Okay, so CAO, what do you want to do from here? I have one in camera.
Your Worship, we have two things that we need to achieve. We have a couple of items to discuss in camera.
Okay.
And there's also a French language survey that was put out by NSFM that we have the opportunity to respond to collectively. So it doesn't make for great television, so we can do that either after the in-camera or before the in-camera, either way.
Sure. Okay. What do you think? Okay. Motion to go in camera. Seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Your Worship, so we talked, staff talked earlier, and we have the ability to shut off the video and the audio stream so that we are contained, but yet still have Councillor Hatfield and Councillor Lesser continue to be on the Teams platform to participate in the in-camera.
Okay.
And as sure as we can be, we'll be contained, so.
Okay.
Govern
So do we
yourself
just want to
accordingly.
shut that door? Do you need to go? Does she need to go? Well, obviously.